So change your filter, meditate, surrender, and let in the air and breathe. Scratch your soul with the things that touch your heart and make you believe. Hey, what's up guys? Tim Kelly from Zen Healing here, and I want to drop a quick video with something that's very topical this week in the news here where I am in Philadelphia, and that's with the Philadelphia Eagles. One of our star players, Brandon Brooks, was not able to go on Sunday because he was suffering severe anxiety, and he had all the different symptoms, nausea, and different things that were, prohibiting him from actually getting on the field. And this is something that has been ongoing. I'm sure it's not just related to Brandon Brooks. There's thousands, millions of people out there who are suffering with the same disorder. So today I'm going to drop some quick breathing exercises that you can do to halt this. Think about it. Emotional stress hijacks our breathing rate and make it irregular, and then it hijacks our body. So then if we can learn some of the breathing tricks, we can halt emotional stress when it actually starts to onset. So for me, it's important first just to go over some of the mechanics of breathing and why that's important. You think about it. Each day, 60,000 thoughts, 23,000 breaths, every person. So every breath we're taking, there's 4 thoughts. And then when you break down the mechanics of breathing, first there's the inhale, the pause, the exhale, and the pause. Now, yogis know when you pause the breath, you still the fluctuations in the mind. So those 60,000 thoughts, if you're trying to prep yourself at the end of the day, stop the chattering mind, or in the situation where you have anxiety, a lot of that's, you can use the magic of pausing the breath. So when you think about it, when you inhale, pause that breath. Now, that oxygen's bathed in the body. So no matter what you're inhaling, if you're inhaling smoke, that's why people are smoking. You're trying to get that buzz. Same thing with oxygen. Smoke that oxygen. When you pause the breath, you still the mind. So the body starts to slow down. In its tracks. So then you have your exhale, and then you have the pause after the exhale. So it's now you have to take a breath. So that pause, after you exhale everything out, that pause helps you train the fight or flight of the mind. For somebody with anxiety and stress, it's vital. So again, one thing I might want to suggest or do with Brandon Brooks is, actually go to the field and then do the breathing exercises where you want to flight. That's where your fight or flight's happening. So where you're pausing the breath, you're letting everything out. Now you have no oxygen in the body, and now the fight or flight's starting to come on. This is where you're training the mind to reverse that effect. So where he wants to, the body wants to flight, this is where you ground in. This is where you see it for what it is. This is where you start to reset and recalibrate your breathing, and then your breathing starts to recalibrate with your mind and your emotions. So, that's just a little intro into that. Some of the techniques. The first technique that I would do is open up with Nadi Sadhana or an alternate nostril breathing. So what's that going to do? That's going to help to balance the hemispheres of the brain, help to connect that yin and yang. Also, all week long we get stuck in a certain emotion. So what I'll say, like for me personally, a lot of times I'm all yang. That means I got my game face on. I don't even know that I'm amped up. And, people are like, whoa, tune your energy down a little bit, bro. And I don't even know that. So that's one of the things where, you have to take control of some of that stuff. So when you get stuck in that yang mode or yin mode, then it's unconscious at that point. So what alternate nostril breathing does, it's intuitive. It allows your body just to read it, the unconscious body to read it. And what you're doing is you're breathing from one nostril and the other. So if we breathe into the right nostril, it connects with the left brain, left nostril to the right brain, which is the female brain, which then to be in the female, you really can't be aggressive. So if you're all yang, you can even just do little left nostril breathing, pause, and just start to kind of calm down a little bit. So alternate nostril breathing starts with your index finger and your middle finger. You put it on your third eye, and you close your right nostril with your thumb and your left one with your ring finger. And you first start just with an exhale at the right nostril. Inhale through the right nostril. Closing right, exhaling left. Inhaling left. Closing left, exhaling right. Inhaling right. Closing right, exhaling left. Inhaling left. Closing, exhaling right. And you repeat that process. So, back and forth, back and forth. Maybe that's one round. Maybe you do 8 rounds to open your day, just to kind of start to settle in the mind. A lot of this is keeping up with releasing internal pressure. Stress and anxiety, a lot of that is releasing internal pressure. So if you can stay on top of that, do some daily exercises so you're already not just showing up where you need to exhale. A lot of what's happening with anxiety is what happens with asthma, the 60,000 thoughts. So again, emotional excitement affects the breathing rate, making it irregular. So what we do all day is little rapid breaths. So somebody with asthma, you're over breathing, and people with anxiety, a lot of that is over breathing. So, and a lot of it you can't even project. So somebody with asthma, it's hard to even project your voice or sound or really tap into that, because that's happening down here. A lot of your breathing, your sound, like great opera singers know, that's happening in the diaphragm, the respiratory diaphragm. So, just by tapping into some of that magic, you can help to recalibrate and reset. So, one of the other breathing techniques, so if you're needing to get to it, it's game time or performance time, all of a sudden the stress and anxiety is happening. I'm going to show you 5 techniques that you can just employ very quickly just to try and alleviate, navigate through that moment. And maybe, again, just like a lot of this stuff, it's staying on top of it, releasing that internal pressure. So to do that, the first breathing technique would be a cleansing breath. So that could be out the nasal passage or the mouth. Out the nasal passage, out the mouth, nasal, mouth. So you can do it sharp or long. It could be, or, we do this naturally when we sigh. So we need to release, and a lot of this shows up with the body. So if you just look at it, our body's so intuitive. So again, the first one, a cleansing breath, it shows up in yoga all the time, out the nasal passage or out the mouth. It's an expulsion. The more you can make it an expulsion, that's an expulsion breath. You can do that, and it connects with your abdominal region. So now those 60,000 thoughts, when you start to connect with your tendon, your abdominal region, bring subtle energy into that because you're breathing, because you're concentrating your energy into that. It brings you out of the cerebral mind into the body. So martial artists know this. It's your tendon or your hara or our yoga bandhas. And when we activate that brings you out, helps to even activate that kundalini switch. So Again, first one's cleansing breath. The second one I'll consider boxer breath. So boxer breath is very close to skull shining breath or Kapalabhati breath in yoga. And it's a very healing breath. It builds up a lot of heat within the body, so they call it breath of fire a lot of times, or it's a version of that. And very simply, you're just taking an inhale in, and you're triggering rapid diaphragmatic expulsions, and it's coming out the nasal passage. So, that's... But that's the yoga breathing technique. The technique I want to teach is boxer breath. So that's when a boxer's striking, they're basically doing an expulsion out the nasal passage or the mouth. Most of the time they have the mouthpiece in, so it's going to be coming out the nasal passage. But then as they're doing that, that's helping to ground them. It's also making sure they don't overbreathe. There's a lot of benefits to it, and it's also helping them create a rhythm. When you exhale, you relax the ribs. So when you're throwing a strike or you're trying to be loose, exhaling, prolonging the duration of the exhale. So an inhale, a pause, an exhale, a pause. So that's just one breath. Most of the time we're doing, 15, 18 breaths a minute. If you can slow that down, yogis know that the secret to life is not over breathing. So it's like we don't measure our lives in the number of years we live. It's the number of breaths you take. And the less breaths per minute, we think you're going to live for eternity. So that's just a little trick there. So I'll stay on it. So the first one again, cleansing breath. The second one, boxer breath. So you just do it rapid over and over. You can do it while moving, while dancing, while striking, while whatever. Moving your way, be intuitive. The third one, and a lot of this stuff works through sound. So the third one is Om. So it's chanting Om. And aside from the spiritual piece of Om where it's a healing sound current, know that it strikes a particular area of the body. So in the tonal scale for the chakras, when you're hitting different areas of the body, it's Lam, down low, Vam, Ram, Yam, Hum, to open up the heart, Om, and the throat. So when you touch each body part, if you do Om and put your hand on your belly, you don't even feel it. You put it up here, it's shaking. So these are healing sound currents, resonance that are targeted at specific to wake up, to shake from the inside out the internal body. So chanting Om is one of them. And very simply, you can use Om or hum. And all you're doing is taking a big inhale in. Alright, so that was choppy as shit. But you can see what that is. Aside from the sound piece of it, that's a prolonged exhale. So basically, I can do about 2 breaths a minute, maybe 3 when I'm chanting Om. So I'm really slowing it down. I'm really inhaling deeply. And more importantly, I'm exhaling out all that bad air in order to make some room for the new good air. So, and that new good air, again, is going to invigorate the body. It's going to help to feed your body. So another one along the sounds of Om is Ha. So in laughing, in yoga, they have laughing yoga. Take laughing yoga. And people are, but the Ha is not really, I teach Zen. So the Ha is actually here in your har. It's in your tendon. It's ha, ha, ha. So you can do it, ha, ha, ha. But that's yin. That's a yin version. A yang version is, huh, ha, huh, huh. So, you see teams doing that sound in the tunnel. It grounds them. It gets them out of their nerves. It gets them free and loose. So it's releasing internal pressure. And what it's doing is really coming deep into your abdominal region. So again, all these sounds are happening low. And more importantly, they're getting you out of the mind. They're releasing your internal pressure, helping you deal with your anxiety. So the last one would be a Zen Shout. And they call it a Katsu shout. And Zen warriors, Zen masters would do this before battle, sometimes to kind of strike fear of their opponent. So just by the way they did it. And, it's, again, a deep sound, just like that, ha, ha. It's hi, or yai, or yuts, yuts. So if you do Y-U-T-Z, yuts, when you do that, you have to make that sound in your abdominal region. So you're contracting your muscles. So it's yuts, yuts, but you're yelling it. And it gives you permission to yell it. So you can do this in the car, in the shower, so nobody thinks you're a crazy person, and or you don't feel uncomfortable with it. So try any of those breathing techniques. Try any of those on. Again, just want to drop this quick video for anybody out there struggling with anxiety or stress. And look, man, Brandon Brooks, in your corner, my man, and the birds. Keep fighting, buddy, and breathe well. Stay flexible. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a great day. So close your eyes and breathe and think of this as a reset or reframe. And when the demons in you want to get out, show some discipline and just restrain. So get your head straight, hydrate, meditate, take care of your brain.